Dead Space, said to be one of the scariest games ever made, is a third-person sci-fi horror video game developed by Visceral Games and distributed by EA Games California, released in 2008 for Xbox 360, PS3 and PC. Set in the year 2507, a team ventures through space to repair a mining vessel, the USG Ishimura. Engineer Isaac Clarke is looking forward to seeing his girlfriend Nicole on the mining vessel.
Is that really you? I never thought we'd be together again.
After an almost catastrophic boarding of the Ishimura, the team are attacked by an undead mutant creature. Members of the team are killed, and Isaac decides to find Nicole and escape the hell. Isaac fights through disfigured undead enemies while solving mechanical problems to find Nicole and escape the Ishimura. The production of Dead Space was led by creative director and executive producer Glenn Schofield, senior development director Michael Condrey, and art director Ian Milham. Visceral Games began with 18 employees and by 2017 grew into a large video game production company of approximately 80 staff. The original game concept was conceived by Glenn Schofield around 2005 as a sequel to System Shock, calling it Rancid Moon. He developed the game with colleagues into an undead third-person shooter that later became Dead Space. The project was given the green light by EA Games soon after the success of Resident Evil 4, which shares several gameplay mechanics and sound design qualities. The developers decided that sound design was essential for creating the right level of intensity for the game. Audio director Don Vecker made microphone recordings of a BART train in California screeching through a tunnel that ended up being used in Dead Space. The gameplay mechanics include high-tech weapons, melee attacks, and powers such as telekinesis. These all come in handy when facing off the brutal and horrific enemies aboard the USG Ishimura. One of those enemies was a long drag tentacle that would drag its victims to their death. Glenn Schofield described the mechanics behind the drag tentacle as a development obstacle that nearly killed the game. They developed a problem-solving strategy that involved overcoming one piece of the problem at a time. Enemy interactions would be broken down layer by layer until the development team had what they wanted. Throughout most of the game, Isaac believes his girlfriend is still alive.
You're doing the right thing, Isaac.
However, after Isaac realizes Nicole has committed suicide during the horrific events on board the Ishimura, she becomes no more than a delusional infection in his imagination. The developers have inserted a clue for the player to find. The first letter of each chapter spells out, Nicole is dead.
It's all falling apart here. I can't believe what's happening.
Dead Space became a well-known EA Games franchise, with the first game costing approximately $37 million and selling over 2 million copies. Dead Space 2 was developed and released in January 2011, and Dead Space 3 in February 2013. Additional installments include a rail FPS for Nintendo Wii called Dead Space Extraction, and a graphic novel minigame called Dead Space Ignition for the Xbox 360 and PS3.
We're losing air. Gotta get out.
Unfortunately, by the third game, sales failed to reach EA Games' expectations, and a fourth game in the franchise was put into stasis. During the development of Dead Space 2, team members such as Glenn Schofield and Michael Condrey left Visceral Games. The impact of the game's creative direction can be seen in significant changes in Dead Space 3, including the introduction of aliens to the storyline, inconsistent cover mechanics, and in-game microtransactions that left fans feeling disappointed and confused as to where the series was going. Dead Space was successfully one of the world's most popular third-person action horror games. The developers and artists behind the Dead Space series are leading professionals and are still highly regarded by other developers in the industry and fans alike.